There are a lot of tutorials out there showing you how to heel toe, rev match, and double clutch. I myself have one on this. And while they do show you the fundamental techniques, very few of them are actually demonstrating where you are meant to use these techniques. And this is a question I get asked quite a lot. So today I'm going to go through and show you in a road situation where you should be using the techniques of heel towing and rev matching in your car. For today's testing, we're going to be using my GT86. Now this is a car that is known for having good pedal position for heel towing and things like that. I'll also show you later in this video my other car, which is a Toyota Hilux, which has less than ideal positioning, so I can show you some techniques in that. Okay, so before we go out driving, let's talk about different scenarios you'll encounter on the road where heel and towing, rev matching and double clutching may be useful. Now to start off with, I'm just going to say that double clutching is basically used in the same scenarios as heel and tow and rev matching. You just add the double clutch in on top of those. If you have either a gearbox with worn synchros, an older car with not great synchros, or if you have a cold gearbox and your synchros aren't working currently. Apart from that, double clutching is just an extension of heel and tow or rev match. Rev match is used in two scenarios, okay? One is you're currently in too high a gear, so let's say I'm going along at fifth, going along down the road, and I come to a hill, let's say, or I want to pass a car, so I want to shift down a gear, but I don't want to drop speed, so I hold my speed constant, and I just clutch, rev match, and shift down a gear, and that gives me the smooth transition to the lower gear to get the power I need to do either go up the hill or overtake the car. So that's where you'd use a rev match. The heel and tow is used whenever you would be under brakes, but then expecting to be back onto throttle after being under brakes. So let's say I'm going along, there's a corner coming up, and it's the second gear corner, but I want to be able to accelerate out of it, and I'm currently in fourth gear, let's say. So I'll press the brakes, and I'll go heel and toe third, heel and toe second, off the brakes, mild throttle through the corner, and then as I hit the corner exit, I'll accelerate out. And while that sounds like a racing corner that I'm describing, that is really every corner on the road that you'll ever encounter. The other use of heel and toe in, say, traffic is when the traffic slows down in front of you. Let's say you're in fourth gear, and the traffic slows down to the point where you have to be in, say, third, so you come under the brakes, and you just shift it down to third, still under the brakes, bring the speed down, and then you hit the throttle once the traffic picks up again. It means you don't have to muck around with trying to shift once you've gotten off the brake, because if you're shifting while you're on the brakes, you're essentially not losing any time to shifts. If you try to shift once you're off the brakes, let's say I brake in fourth, we start slowing down, I get off the brakes and I hit the throttle, I don't have the speed I need to catch back up to the traffic. So then I'll have to shift down to third. By that point I'm a long way back. It's much easier if in the braking down to the traffic, I've already shifted down and we're ready to go again. The final use of heel and towing is when I'm coming to, say, something like a stop sign. So this is something where you'll actually use a double clutch in pretty much any car because most first gears are not synchronized. So let's say I'm going along at third gear, straight line speed, there's a stop sign up ahead, I slow down, I heel and toe down to second, then as I come to the stop, I double clutch into first so that then I am ready to go in first the second I stop. So I stop, I look as I'm going, and then I'm immediately in first. I don't have to stop in neutral, so the other way that people would do it would they'd be going along in third, go to neutral, slow down, stop, oh, now you've got to put it in gear and go again. By doing it on your slowdown, you're saving yourself the time there. Some people that's not important for, but chances are if you're watching a video on the value of heel and towing, that this is something that you're interested in. Okay, so let's go out now and have a look at those in a practical environment through just some video logging of me on the roads. Okay, so what I'm running through today is basically going to be indicative of a sort of average daily drive. We're going to be running through a lot of traffic, stuff like that, and I'm just going to give you a perspective on where you can use these techniques in that daily drive. So basically the rev match can be used whenever you feel like the speed that you're about to be going at requires a lower gear than the speed that you're currently at. So just then the speed zone changed from 70 to 60. So I was in 5th in the 70 zone, but then for 60, 4th is better in this car. So I shifted down with the rev match without really dropping my speed that much. So I don't really need the brakes, but the rev match is a useful technique. So I was going along at 60 and traffic just caused me to slow to 50. So I need more acceleration, so I'll shift to third so that I can change lanes and accelerate. That's good use of the rev match. So the rev match is obviously the easiest of the techniques, and it's very useful for when you're just trying to accelerate and you're in too high of a gear, because you can quickly drop down a gear and start accelerating. So to bring on perhaps the most prevalent case of when you'd want to rev match by itself in a car, I'm going to show you the example of a hill. So up here we have a reasonably long steep hill coming up, and I'm going to deliberately get into 6th gear on the flat here. Now this is the gear I'll be using when it's flat, but as I start to go up this hill, I need more torque than the engine can provide. So what I need is more revs. So what I do is I can hear my engine starting to lose power, I can see it doesn't quite have it, so I just give it a rev match, and then we're up and cruising. I've got plenty of torque available, and I can even accelerate if I want to. Then once the hill flattens off a bit again, I can shift back up a gear into 6th. So here on the bridge, we can see this guy's submerged in front of me. It's slowing down my speed. So I give a quick blip, get from 5th to 6th. It wasn't enough to cause me to have to brake, so I just did a roll off, drop back a little bit, and then I shift down the gear to 5th. So that dropped my speed. I can then bring my speed back up, shift back to 6th once I'm comfortable. The advantage of being in a lower gear is that it allows you to respond quicker to threats. So it's kind of defensive driving technique. You want to have enough power available that you can maneuver around any threat, because obviously at any time you can press the brakes, but if a car cuts across you and you need to get around it for some reason, it's good to have that little bit of extra acceleration in the tank. So with the heel and toe, it's probably the technique I use the most in my daily drive. So let's say we're coming down to a set of lights as we are here. There's no reason to heel toe, but there's a good opportunity to practice, so I do it anyway. The trick is a nice gentle blip on the heel toe, and that stops you from over rev matching. When you're not in a race scenario, you don't actually have to press the pedal, or the accelerator pedal, very hard for it to give you the rev match you want. So even coming into traffic where you don't know what's going to happen in terms of when you're going to accelerate next, it's often preferable to pick a gear lower. And this is why you can heel toe just in start-stop traffic, because just like then when that guy cut me off, my first inkling was that I might want power to get around him. So I need to shift down to 2nd. Now obviously, of course, corners still exist on-road as well. The difference is that instead of picking your own speed through them, you have to basically match the speed set by other cars. So for that case, when you're getting slowed down by other cars, you're under brakes, you want to be in that higher gear so that you can pull out of the corner afterwards, or perhaps even overtake out of the corner, you need to do a heel and toe down into that corner. And of course, there are also corners where there aren't cars in your way. So right here, I'm about to take a right turn, go down, and I'm going to go to the corner, I'm going to brake, I'm going to heel toe down to 2nd, turn in, and that way I can get a nice explosive acceleration out of that corner, back up to the speed that I want to be at. Whereas if I stayed in 3rd through that corner, you can see that there's no way I would have accelerated as fast. Now why do you want to accelerate fast on the road? Well, there's no particular reason, but it is a lot more fun. So these techniques can help make your drive more fun. So right here we have a corner here, so I'll go down, I'll brake, rev match 2nd into the heel and toe, accelerate out. Speed bumps, perfect application for heel and toe. This section here, I'll go 2nd, 3rd, there's a speed bump, brake, 2nd, take the speed bump, accelerate, 3rd, brake, 2nd. Now you ask why I couldn't just leave it in 2nd. Well, apart from the fact that that would make an obnoxious amount of noise to everyone, it also is not technically as good on your fuel economy, and it's definitely not as much fun. You can of course rev match if you're coasting as well. So if you're going along at a given speed in neutral, like slowing down to a set of lights, and you need to get going again, what you can do is you can give the throttle a bit of a blip first with the clutch not depressed, so you're basically double clutching everything up to speed, and then you press the clutch in and select the gear you want. This is good because sometimes when you've been in neutral for a while coasting, your gearbox, camshaft and everything won't be going the speed that's correct. So by double clutching it, you can get everything going the right speed. So if I put in neutral here and I want to go to 2nd, I just give it a bit of a blip and drop it in. Now I wouldn't have done that normally, I was just doing it to sort of demonstrate a point. And that is where you'd want to use heel towing, rev matching and double clutching on daily drive in a regular car.
Stay tuned for part 2 where I take out the Hilux for a drive and show you some applications of double clutching.